At this moment, at 5:35, I'm bringing our public health committee meeting to order. And we don't have any citizens' communications.
No, ma'am.
And our first order of business is to accept the meeting minutes. Do I have any discussion or questions on the meeting minutes? No? Okay, all in favor? say
We need
aye.
your motion.
Motion.
Oh, you have your motion?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, you motion it, and David, you.
Second. Yeah.
Okay.
We
All
have
right,
to tag team here.
all in favor of these meeting minutes being approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? 3-4-0 against. All right, resolution 22611. Resolution accepting donation from Friends of Williamson County Animal Center and appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Animal Center budget by $17,000, revenues to come from donations.
Motion. Second.
That's okay. It's been a long week.
Hi, Andrea.
Hello. So these are, this is a generous donation to help us with hiring contract veterinarians for spay neuter, for public spay neuter.
Contract veterinarians, we don't it's a workload to hire one, right?
Well, we use contract veterinarians for the public spay neuter clinic because our veterinarian, Dr. Birdwell, is here. She's our medical director, so she sets all of our policies and protocols related to the medical piece of what we do, but also has the care of all the animals that are in our facility. So she does spay neuter she does some public spay neuter too, but that's extra from what our
It's more
staff
than
do.
she can do on her own.
Right, exactly. So the Friends of pays for, it's a long drawn out story, but if somebody comes in from the public, they fill out a certain kind of application if they can't pay, and then Friends reimburses us for those spays and neuters. And so it's an agreement we have with
You
Friends.
get a lot from Friends of.
Well, a lot of people give their donation to Friends because that's a nonprofit and it's tax deductible. So they give to Friends, but then they specify, like this was one donor that gave this amount of money, but they specified that it had to be spent on vet services.
And do they only support Williamson County Animal Center, or do they donate to others?
Nope, it's just to us.
Do you have any questions or comments on this resolution? Okay, so we can vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? 4-0 against. Resolution 22614. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a lease agreement with Booth Vets on behalf of the Williamson County Animal Center.
Motion.
Second.
So, Dr. Preston is here. I don't know if any of you know her. She's been a vet in our community for a really long time. Well, she's not that old, but been around for a while. And so we recognized a need at the animal center. We have citizens in the community who cannot afford to pay beyond the basic vet care for their animals. So I gave an example last night at property, but I'll give a different example tonight so that I won't make Carolyn cry. So we had a couple, an elderly couple that had a Yorkie, love of their life. The way I understand it, the Yorkie jumped down off the couch or something and broke its leg. And they took it to their private vet. The vet splinted the leg because that was all they could afford. They couldn't afford an orthopedic surgery. So they splinted the leg, the break didn't set, and so the dog needed an amputation. They couldn't afford, obviously, to do that. So their vet actually referred them to us. A lot of private vets will refer people to us thinking that we have a way of helping the public, which we don't really have an official way to provide vet care to privately owned animals. But in this particular situation, we did have a grant from the Community Foundation last year. It was only a $10,000 grant, but we were able to do a few things like this amputation through that grant. So that was one circumstance where we were able to amputate the dog's leg, keep the dog in the family that already loved it. And alternatively, the only thing that we really would have been able to do is take that dog as a surrender. We still would have done the surgery, but then we would have housed it, vetted it, and tried to find it a new home. So it doesn't really benefit anybody for us to do that if we can keep the animal in their home, reduce a surrender for us, and provide the care that the community needs. That's what we want to do. And so I've known Dr. Preston for a long time through rescue prior to my involvement at the animal center. And so through conversations, she wanted to be able to provide some of that care to the community. And she has started a nonprofit clinic. And we have the ability to let them operate out of our facility. They'll pay us a lease price. There's no cost to us to have them there. Dr. Birdwell and Boop's vet, Dr. Moser, have kind of figured out a flow of traffic and processing clients where they won't overlap. And again, this won't cost the taxpayers any money, and it's a identified need in the community. We're able to be part of the solution. Private vets already have a tendency to send people over to us to see what we can do for them. So this is a win-win for everybody.
So this private vet will be housed in the animal control center, and their service is gonna be free to qualified.
It'll be no cost, low cost, it'll be a sliding scale. So if they're referred to us by a private vet, and Dr. Preston, tell me if I'm saying this incorrectly, but if they are referred to us by a private vet, we won't do any kind of income qualification because their vet that they normally see is referring them over to us. Either it's maybe a surgery their vet doesn't perform, like pyometra or something like that, or it's something that they just don't have the money to pay what they need, but they're not income
You say it's
qualified.
by referral only?
That will be one pathway, and then anyone who just walks through the door that isn't referred by a private vet will have to provide some sort of proof of need. So either it'll be similar to how we do the tax freeze, for the elderly or people on fixed income. If you can prove that you have a need, then we will have a sliding scale. So some people might receive the service at no cost, but then others might receive the service at low cost. And we are used to doing that because that's how we do our spay-neuter pricing, but we won't be operating this clinic. So it won't be us that's making those determinations. This will be, Boop will have their completely independent. We won't be dictating their operation. They will have their own software. They will have their own DEA license, their own malpractice insurance. All of that will be, it's just a separate entity that will just be leasing space from us.
Will they be there, at the same hours that the center is open, or are they gonna have?
They'll have their specific hours. I think y'all are going to start with 3 days a week. Is that right? So we'll start, they'll be there 3 days a week. And there's a lot of side benefits for us as well. They have, for example, an ultrasound machine and different equipment than what we have. So obviously with it being there in our building, we will be able to use that as well. But then the other benefit that will happen for us is that they are going to purchase their white goods from us. So that's things like syringes, sutures, things like that. When we purchase in a higher bulk, our price goes down. So they're going to pay us for anything of hours that they use. They'll have an inventory system where they keep up with all of that. And it allows us to purchase at a less expensive rate as well. So there's really not a negative that I can find.
Any questions?
No question, but to me, it sounds like more positive than I can't think of a negative, honestly. So
agree.
I think this is a great opportunity to provide a service to the community to keep families together with their pets, which can be family.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Dr. Preston, and thank you, Andrea, for creating this partnership. I think it's really awesome, and I think it's something that just highlights the dedication to our community.
Thank you.
Whose idea was it?
Well, I think, Dr. Preston talked to me years ago that she was interested in opening a nonprofit clinic. So that was always something that was on her heart. But I think as we started to see more of a need in our, and Dr. Birdwell was getting a lot of these requests. And so through Dr. Birdwell and I work really closely together, and just through all the conversations, a lot of the conversations come about actually because, it's a big boost for our staff when we're able to help keep families and their pets together. So a lot of those heartwarming and sweet stories kind of came about as a result of those conversations. And of course, writing the grant to the Community Foundation and being awarded that grant, we actually have a Teams channel. We use Teams for all of our communications. So we have a Teams channel about grant cases, and Dr. Birdwell will Teams us and say, I have a potential grant case. This is the situation. Does this qualify? And then Scott Pieper, who writes the grants, he goes back and looks at the grant qualifications. Yes, that qualifies. If it's going to keep a pet in a home, basically it qualifies for grant. You guys feel free to jump in.
Would you either of you like to speak?
You have to come up here if you're going to speak, because you have to talk into the microphone.
And if you have any questions, we're happy to
Okay.
do it.
All right, well, I don't have any other questions. Anyone else?
No, I just wanted to also give you a chance to kind of share with us what your team did during the storm. Because I think this is something like I learned about the EMS, I learned about the fire, I learned about the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, but there were so many other departments that stepped up during the storm. And I just thought maybe it might be an opportunity for you to kind of share what your team did.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I will say there were a lot of heroic things that happened in this community during the storm, and there are things that you probably won't hear about. But I had 4 employees who stayed over. Some of them arrived at work on Friday morning and did not leave until Tuesday at 3:30. And Commissioner Richards' daughter used to work for me, and she did a lock-in a couple times. So they were there because we have minimum staffing levels at the shelter, and it's based on how many animals are on our census at the time. So there's a national prescribed, X number of employees per this number of animal. So our minimum staffing level was 4. We had 4 individuals that stepped up and said they were willing to do it. And, when you get snowed in there, it could be 2 days, it could be 10. You don't know when the county will reopen, how bad it's going to be. But we were really fortunate this time because EMA opened warming shelters in Fairview and Franklin High School, and they allowed people to bring their pets. There were several people who would not leave their homes. One person that wouldn't leave their lizard. So they brought their bearded dragon with them to the Fairview warming shelter. But we were asked by EMA to put together a package to support those people with pets. And myself and one of our kennel techs was literally out in our parking lot banging these crates on the ground because the freezing rain, they were coated in ice. So we were trying to get the ice off of them. We're loading them in the truck. But Commissioner Tunnicliffe's daughter works for me as well. And for example, on Monday night at 9 o'clock, I got a call from one of the sheriff's deputies, and I guess maybe an elderly couple or somebody had run out of cat food, called 911 probably, I don't know, called the dispatch center, worried about their cat. A sheriff's deputy came and they called me and said, can I get cat food? Nothing's open, 9 o'clock on Monday night. So they came to the shelter. Grace Tunnicliffe met them out front, with her bag of cat food, and the cat food got delivered. So people were really going above and beyond for people in need in our community. And my folks were, they got a lot of love because a lot of the community dropped off, tins of cookies and things, for the people staying overnight. But they did. They were there all those days. And I shared with Commissioner Smith that a tree fell on my car, and I called my husband. He was at the EOC working with the fire department, and I called him and I said, there's a tree on my car and I need to go to work. And the next time I know anything's happening, I hear chainsaws, and he and my son are out there cutting the tree off my vehicle. And he's like, all right, I gotta go, just drive it. So I drove to work with the top of my Bronco caved in. But anyway, so you do what you've got to do. But they really did step up, and these are, I say kids, for the most part, I think Grace Tunnicliffe had her 21st birthday locked in the shelter during the storm. So they're kids to me because I'm old, but they're very young adults. So I'm proud that we have people that dedicated to the mission that we have. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about that.
Appreciate your dedication. It was enlightening. There was a lot that happened, and I just think that across the entire county, there were so many different departments and teams that stepped up, and I would love to see the whole list, but I think there's probably too much to probably even acknowledge.
I want you all to know, though, that it's through, the legislative body, through the mayor, through all of our people. I have a special needs son that lives in independent living in Davidson County, and I was trying to get him help because he had no cell service and no electricity in Davidson County. And it was a very stark contrast between the experience people were having in Williamson and the people in Davidson. So what you guys are doing and valuing the employees and those relationships and the service we offer our community, it's making a very real impact. So thank you.
Yep. I got to meet one of your shelter dogs too at Franklin High School, Mango. Mango was there because they had gotten her from the shelter. So I know they were appreciative to have a warm place for her. She's just a super sweet dog.
Thank you.
Thanks, Auntie. All right, all in favor of 22614, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? 440 against. Resolution 22625. Resolution authorizing the county mayor to enter into a 2025-2027 contractual agreement with the state of Tennessee for educational policy and increasing the 2025-26 health department budget by $25,000. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. I wish I had something that good to report. I'm telling you, how do you follow that?
Sorry.
Well, I can tell you that some of our strike team members were definitely deployed to help in some of the shelters and so forth, or asked to help in some of the shelters. So nothing like, I'll never be able to one-up the animal center for sure.
Kids and puppies.
That's right. How can you compete?
Always trumps everybody.
Absolutely. So about August of last year, I had come to this committee to ask and to present an educational policy that the department had actually developed or designed for state employees to be able to get tuition assistance or reimbursement if they were entering into a public health program or nursing, things like that. Well, let's fast forward 6 7 months now. I just got the the contract last Friday afternoon. So we finally have a contract. We do have an individual, our health educator, who has been accepted to a PhD program over at TSU. And so she is seeking some tuition reimbursement through this policy. So we do have a cost reimbursement contract with the state for $25,000. And yes, Commissioner, you were right. It does go through 2027. So we'll get 10,000 this year, 15,000 next year. So that's what the cost reimbursement contract is for. Like I said, it's only for Department of Health or local health department employees.
And money coming from the state.
That's correct. That's correct. And
Does that cover her entire tuition?
Is there something in this resolution that involves kittens or puppies?
No, sir, I'm afraid not.
Can't have a kid.
If she graduates, I might get her a kid, okay?
All right, do you have any questions, like relevant questions? All right, all in favor of resolution 22625, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? 440 against.
All right.
Do you have any other business to discuss?
I have something that I want to bring up and some advice from the attorney in discussion with the committee having to do with the fiasco that happened with this ice storm. I want to consider filing some type of resolution asking the commission to ask the state legislature to possibly look at changing statutes to allow for all the counties that have NES to have a seat on the board for NES, so it's not just being ran by the Metro Nashville only. We're not the only county. I think there's 3 or 4 other counties, Sumner and Cheatham and Robertson, and there may be one more. And at a minimum, we ought to have some type of representation. We're paying the electric bills. We're paying the all that, and our rates are being decided, and it's basically kind of a taxation without representation situation, and not in really.
Do you know who is on that?
There's 5 people on the board. They're all appointed by the Metro mayor, and I don't know who any of them are. And at a minimum, we ought to have some type of say if it's into our county, and we have no say.
Are they regulated by TDEC?
They're regulated, I think, ultimately by.
Or is it TPAC?
I think it's the
It's
Public
TPAC?
Utilities Commission.
It is, but then ultimately, I think it goes up to the Tennessee Valley Authority somehow or
I think
another.
so.
So TPAC plays a role in it, and then probably TVA plays a role in it. So it would be ask them to change their policy regarding.
I think it all does have to go through statute because both of those
Title VII, I
organizations.
believe, somewhere.
I
Yes.
did a little bit of research because I thought the same thing, and it was a statute issue. The law is because the law allows for Metro to appoint the board.
They have the full say, but then, and I don't have the numbers because I doubt we could even get them easily yet.
How many
About
counties are serviced by NES?
Williamson, Sumner, Cheatham, Robertson, I believe, have customers that go into those counties. And I think that, I know it's a little late, but I
It might be
think,
something though. I think
I can definitely do some research and see what that proposed language would look like and what, because like you say, it would be asking them to amend the statute, but with this being such a timely issue, I would think, from my personal opinion,
Easy,
though,
yeah.
well,
that would be
what I'm asking is
receptive.
for us to file a resolution, the full commission, to ask our legislators to take it. And I know there's other people that are working on some things, but we don't have any direct say in that, but that's the most powerful thing that I think we could do.
probably get the other counties to do it too.
So that, I agree. But I think at a minimum, I think there may be some other things in the work that may be more aggressive than that, but at a minimum, that's something that we could do at our level, and like to have something ready to put in front of the commission on next week.
You want to
if
do that
possible, if it
on
fits the
Monday?
rules. Yes, if it fits the
Okay.
rules for us to be able to get that
Be
in.
late filed. Be late filed, but
I don't think anybody's gonna object to it.
Yeah.
I
Do we
think
still have people without electricity?
I think we do.
Does Angela Beacon still have that?
She just got it back yesterday. And then
But you know, when
You think you could get it ready by
at a
tomorrow?
minimum, we have somebody that we could call that has been appointed by
Yeah, Monday.
our by the county commission. So we have somebody that represents us that we could call. Otherwise,
There's some accountability.
they don't, it appears that they don't care about the people that have no voting power outside of Davidson County.
well, they don't seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I just don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do we
Like
wanna-
I said, Temple Hill's got it, but.
If we're gonna address this, we wanna address it
Yeah.
across all the utilities, so like whether it's electric or water or, so it's.
I personally think that right now that, it's like.
Well, I mean, Marin County's dealing with the same thing right now with Columbia Water District. They're changing their rates and there's no representation from the county on that one. So I just, if we have the opportunity to do it, we might as well do it for all the utilities and say you need
I wouldn't be
representation.
against something like that, but this, the deal with what's currently been our biggest issue here immediately that has gotten everybody's attention because, rate change is one thing, but allowing trees to fall and
Or
knock power out for.
recommendation of evacuating, because we can keep the power back on.
Well, I think my understanding, a lot of it was just tree maintenance. They didn't trim the trees back.
I'd love to have a full investigation by somebody to see where it failed, because it failed. There's nobody can say, they can't say that it didn't fail. But to have, what they could have done differently. Because, you have early on, I realized, well, Middle Tennessee Electric's getting everybody back. How are they doing it? And they're not. And I know there's some differences. There's probably more above ground utilities in Davidson County, maybe less of that out here. It's not just a this or that, but they figured out a way to get it done. And
Well, you should have a disaster recovery plan.
so, anyway, I'd like to at
Yes,
least,
I'll look
in a
into that.
minimum, we ought to have some kind of say on the board that affects the people that are in our county.
Okay, yeah. I will, just because the meeting is on Monday, I'll obviously will push this to the top of my list, but I'll probably be able to get you something, if not by the end of day tomorrow, Monday morning at the latest. So you can
Whatever you
get it.
need from me.
Okay.
Thank you. I just did. I wanted to hear what
Yeah,
my
I
fellow
think it's a great
commissioners
idea.
thought
That's a
as
great
well.
idea. I'd be happy to sponsor it.
And I thought that this was the proper committee for it. If there was any one, it was something that affects public health is electricity. So
I'd be happy to sponsor that too.
Okay.
I was gonna contact you.
I'm sure everybody
Oh,
on
public health. committee
everybody on the
sponsor it.
commission would
If
probably.
you want co-sponsors, we'll.
Sure.
Well, yeah, why don't you just have, the more co-sponsors you have, the better. Yeah.
I'm sure the whole commission would like to co-sponsor that one.
Just co-sponsors, yeah.
Oh, it was sad.
All right,
It's 6:03. You want to adjourn?
I would like to adjourn.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.